What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Six Man Blitz. Hey, before you continue watching this, make sure to like, make sure to subscribe so you can stay updated to what we got, the content we got going. It's a pretty good episode, but make sure you like and subscribe before you come back and watch this joint and our content. But, I mean, damn, Shannon Sharp, he's gone off of Fox Sports, whatever, FS1. And Shannon Sharp and Stephen A. Smith, they might be getting together for, First Take. That might be the new guest host for them. What do you think about that possible duo, them together in sports media?
I think that takes First Take to a whole different level because we've never had it was never black on black.
Right.
Max Kellerman. That's what helped the show a lot personally. Kind of that racial divide thing they had going on. But I think times are changing where Shannon is a big ass voice, and he bring the culture with him. Yeah. And shoot, he getting into it with players on the at the damn game.
Dylan Brooks and Ja Morant, yeah.
Not to mention his, being one of the best tight ends of all time, and a great businessman. So you could tell that shit would go to the moon.
And they would be yelling at each other
Stephen A. continuing more relevant as well, because how many people were who could? There's a lot of people who could give a fuck about Skip at this point in his career, and I think we're seeing the fall of Skip Bayless before our very eyes.
I think he's just about done. I mean, how much longer can he do it though? He's like 70.
I heard a rumor that Richard Sherman might be interested.
That would be perfect though. Them two together.
That would.
Him and Colin Cowherd too. I heard him and Colin Cowherd too.
Colin Cowherd.
Yeah, because he's in the same studio. They you know what I mean.
Look, Colin isn't. If he has he ever been a guest on their show?
I don't think so.
I feel like that would be two alphas, and Colin, you could tell he's he wants his own shit.
Skip Bayless
so
too.
I don't see that happening because
he's been
doing this for a while, and he has a successful show. I watch Colin more than I watch Undisputed.
Yeah, me too. I do like his analogies, his takes. He'll be always bringing
his analogies are clever.
They're good.
If you're in real estate, right? You don't upgrade the garage and expect a $50,000 equity increase.
Right.
You update the kitchen. Now, the running back market, it's undervalued position now, and they're just paying guys they're interchangeable and you can do whatever with them. Now, some running backs, I could see, all right, we can move off this guy and, change things. But Saquon Barkley is not that guy. Josh Jacobs is not that guy. Those two offenses, if you plug in any other running back in those systems, aren't as, effective as they would be with Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley. What are your thoughts on those two situations? Those two running backs weren't able to get a deal done long term, and now they're looking like they're going to miss out camp and they're going to hold out, possibly potentially into the regular season too. Yeah, it's a dark day for the running back position. And, this trend has only been going in that direction. So
Le'Veon started it.
Should have been a shock to most. I understand the frustration of it, but the unfortunate part is this is a business at the end of the day, and the position is just the demand for one workhorse is very low because they cost more, and the running back position is the hardest position physically to play in my position because you got 11 guys trying to take your head off every time you got the ball.
Yeah.
So the chances of you getting hurt throughout a 17 game season is extremely high. So if you would rather pay like the Eagles let go of
Miles Sanders
and he got $7 million a year with Carolina.
Yeah.
And then I seen all the backs the Eagles were able to get
that are
Swift, Rashawn
good
Penny.
guys that like all can, from a production standpoint, do more, and then pay half the cost, and you're diversifying your risk because you got more guys in the rotation. So it's just that's just the strategy. It's unfortunate. Even when I was playing in college, I always wanted to have all the reps, all the carries, but from a coach's or perspective, it's like, why would I add more risk when that it's a 17-game season and you want a good rotation anyways, even with a
great running back,
because you want him to be fresh down the stretch. So it's just the nature of the beast, honestly.
Yeah, and you see Joe Mixon too. You see him take his pay cut, right? You see over the next couple seasons, $5 million a year he's going to be making, and this is Joe Mixon, guy that's 1,000 yards rushing every year, consistent. And they had a good, tandem, him and P. Ryan. But, this year, I mean, it's just crazy thinking these kind of players, Saquon Barkley specifically, the best player on his team, are getting $10 million a year. And, you could see though through his interview he went on some podcast, and it seems like he doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to hold out and miss games. And, in this situation he's in, you lose money if you don't play games.
Right?
Yeah, like
unless you're Le'Veon Bell, and then you go to a terrible offensive line, and we never hear you again. Now you trying to get features and shit. And niggas give you their leftovers. Like, I don't really want to do a feature with dude ass,
right?
So they giving you what they just taking your bag, like, or you boxing. So a million is still a million at the end of the day. I know compared to the receiver position, to what these tackles are getting nowadays, these DMs,
edge rushers, the money is crazy.
His aid, and you mean just as much to the team. Don't get me wrong, but just not the business side of it is not getting done. So I think what I'm saying. You gotta have that understanding if you're a running back. Like, I gotta protect myself. I gotta be healthy. And I gotta take what I can get. You know what I'm saying?
That's what some running backs did this offseason.
You really don't have it.
Yeah,
that's the ugly part of it, the business. I'm gonna be honest.
It's tough. I mean, and you look at what position do we draft first in fantasy football? I know fantasy football. We draft running backs first. The value, all that stuff, like the position wise, the points they put up, the effect some running backs have on the game. Christian McCaffrey, he's getting money. And Derrick Henry, Nick Chubb, those guys got their contracts and got paid. But, with this offseason, it's just crazy the trend, how it's going to be looking now. You're going to see GMs, have a running back for 5 years, draft him, take what they can get out of him, and let him go in free agency. And then just do it again. Draft, Yeah, that's just sad.
You're at your best when you're healthiest, and you're healthiest early on in your career. As a running back, it only goes down after year 4. You seen what we did with David Montgomery.
Yeah.
We were able to get a stable of backs, and probably
got some dudes
more production from the position. So for a fraction of the cost. So it don't make sense. If you're a GM, obviously fantasy football is different, but niggas ain't winning championships.
They act like it.
In fantasy football.
The fantasy guys are acting like it's just real life and drafting championships. Let me send these death threats out to this motherfucker who just tore his ACL.
A lot's on the line in some of these leagues. Speaking of leagues,
the punishments.
We're going to have to make an announcement soon. We might raffle off a position in the 6-man blitz.
When does the draft start?
Fantasy football league. Probably right after the last preseason game. I don't like to play with that preseason shit. Motherfuckers get hurt before the season. That could derail your season. So
hopefully Saquon Barkley and Josh Jacobs are, not holding out, so they can, maybe you could potentially pick them up if you're in our draft.
I'm cool on
that. No, yeah, Christian McCaffrey, I'm taking him first if I get first pick. That's all.
I can't trust him. Not with my first pick. Hell no.
But just the what is it? A high risk, high reward, or whatever. That kind of saying.
I just broke down how devalue the running back position is, and you're gonna go pick up a guy who last year was his first healthiest season in a while.
But hey, you look good too. True. In fantasy, he could ruin your season. The 49ers, I think even they lose McCaffrey, they still got a pretty solid team. You know, it's high value. Elijah Mitchell.
Injuries, which is crazy.
That's what I'm saying. Debo gonna line up at running back too. Like, it's crazy. But a guy that just got paid, not the running back position, tight end position, Evan Ingram. He got a deal that was, 3-year, $42 million. And seeing a guy like this get that kind of deal, and us being Bears guys, would you give that deal to Cole Kmet? A similar deal kind of like that, extension to him? They have the same type of production. Cole Kmet's a better blocking tight end. And, 7 touchdowns last year, but he's been pretty consistent. So what kind of contract would you give to Cole Kmet, you think? And, break it down for us.
I'd probably give him more, honestly, because I think the trend he's on, he's going to be one of the guys we talk about later. But you know what I'm saying? He's one of my breakouts that could definitely be a second, third team all-pro tight end.
Oof.
Especially with, I think the run game in the red zone is going to be crazy. And the play action off of that is going to be, he's just going to get touchdowns. So, I think I'm expecting a lot from him, so I'll pay his ass more. A longer deal because he can block. He's younger. He hasn't had the injuries Evan Ingram has been derailed with. Last year was, the chances of you getting back-to-back years like that from Evan Ingram and he not being hurt. I've had him too many times in fantasy where it's like I'm just watching him. He's always on the fucking bench.
Yeah, him with the Giants too. Report. He was definitely a tough guy to get on fantasy.
Right. Same thing with Darren Waller. Shit.
Oh, that's another
steal
guy
for me like 2 years ago, and then he got paid, and then it was like, this man is never on the field.
Always hurt. Fucking it's tough though. But I think Cole Kmet, I like the trend he's going towards. First year in this offense with Getsy, he looked really promising. 7 touchdowns. And hey, I love his touchdown celebration. That's just so cold, bro. Every time he scores, he does that bat. It's always looked clean. So I'm looking forward to him scoring more. And I would definitely be with you. I would pay him more and give him a nice contract because, he's a hometown hero, hometown guy from Illinois, So definitely see him on the rise in tight ends, top 10 tight end in the league, obviously. Another guy that got paid too, D-Hop, receiver, got released from the Cardinals. There was talks he was going to get traded. They didn't do that. They released him. Talks he was going to go to the Patriots, the Chiefs. The Bills were under, teams that, could be on the radar for him. I'm glad he didn't go to the Chiefs. That would have changed the whole, that Super Bowl would have been already over.
I was hoping he did, man.
Really?
Man, I'm trying to.
I would have been a cheat code.
Be better than Brady. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the more chips he can win, the more that pendulum swings.
But he went to the Titans, got a 2-year, $26 million deal, got the bag. All things considered, being released and being this late in free agency. The Titans, he wanted to go to a stable management team, a quarterback that loves the game, and a defense that's solid. But quarterback questions are a thing with the Titans. They
gave his ass a bag, and they probably were the highest bidder.
Oh yeah, so no question.
That's why he went there. Come on now, that ain't no good situation. They don't even have a quarterback.
They're not going to win. They're not. But they're going to be a talented team. They could compete, but I think the Jaguars are still better than them. With Calvin Ridley in the Jaguars.
No question. And I don't think Tennessee's going to do much. And shoot, Derrick Henry's only getting older.
Mm-hmm.
They lost a lot of guys. Obviously, they still were able to keep their stud D tackle. So
I know. I was hoping the Bears were going to get his ass. We had all the capital. We had everything, the assets.
One thing I didn't like was like you overpay for D-Hop, but you didn't want to overpay for
AJ Brown. Yeah.
Like, come on now. Like, that's
And you
just
see
kind
what
of
he's doing in
ass
Philly.
backwards. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, nah, I think they missed who their guy should have been, because ain't no telling if D Hop gonna be healthy. He's getting up there in age.
Yeah, he's in the 30s now. It's going to be tough, but I think D Hop still is a top 10 receiver in the league.
I agree.
Definitely.
When healthy, though.
Yeah, when healthy. And when he got suspended last year for the PEDs or whatever. But when he's not on that shit. But D Hop, I think he'll do some, he'll prove he's a number one receiver again with the Titans, because they had the worst receiving corps in the league, heading into this year. I think, Treylon Burks, that was really it on the receiver corps. And they got a young tight end, but D Hop fits a lot in there well, adds a lot of value to that receiver room. But yeah, I don't think the Titans are going to do much. I think the Chiefs would have been a better spot for him, or, Buffalo. That would have been crazy. It would have been insane. We all would have wanted to see it, but thank God for the league and the other teams in the league that didn't happen. With this move though, let's continue our trend where we're ranking the divisions, AFC South this time. How do we think this division is going to play out? It's probably going to be easy to rank it, but let me just hear your thoughts on it.
Yeah, I like Jacksonville to come out on top. I think, the addition of getting a number one receiver is crazy.
With Christian Kirk too, he looked like a number one receiver last year.
Obviously. So that 1-2 punch is gonna be wild.
Evan Ingram too. They just signed him.
The Texans ain't gonna be shit. Colts same way, 2 young quarterbacks, and then I think Tennessee could make a play for the playoffs, but they'll be just short. So
that the AFC, there's a bunch of teams that can make the playoffs, so it's gonna be really tough for them.
I think they'll be competitive like they've always been, but I don't see them making the playoffs. Not with the rookie quarterback.
Yeah, or Tannehill, how he's been looking. He's been looking ass.
Come on.
No. But I do like the Texans to improve a lot this year. I think DeMeco Ryans coming in. They, CJ Stroud, I think he'll have a solid year. I like the pieces they added on this team too. A bunch of guys, NIU alum, Jimmy Ward, they added him. I think that's, a good piece to the defense. Will Anderson, CJ Stroud, I think those are 2 young cornerstone pieces for this team. I like where they're headed. And I like the Texans to finish 3rd in this division. I think the Colts, they're going to struggle, but Anthony Richardson, nothing on him. I think he's going to be good too. Let's go to top 5 quarterbacks under the most pressure this season. What are you thinking?
Man, there's a lot, honestly. There's more than
a lot of guys on the line. Yeah.
Some kids eggs on the design.
Kids on the Lizard.
Definitely. I think. Okay, I'll start with the obvious ones though. I think Aaron Rodgers is by far the most. Maybe him and Russell Wilson, 1 and 2.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers. Anytime you trade for a quarterback
with the championship level defense,
assets. In a
true.
market like New York, it's it's going to be pressure just in and of itself, and they're on Hard Knocks now, so there's going to be a huge build up to this season, and I'm sure it's buzzing in the air in New York for the Jets or New Jersey, I should say. So Daniel Jones too, in the same state, he's on my list too. Just because he just got paid. Issues with Saquon. If I was Saquon, I wouldn't play. So,
no, yeah.
Because there was games where Daniel Jones,
15 touchdowns too. He threw 15 touchdowns. This is fucking crazy. He got the bag too.
Relied on him and his big play and make ability. So I asked for a trade because they finna see how bad it can get.
Oh yeah. Week 1, they played Dallas too.
Right. I would definitely sit out a few games. And that keeps you healthy. It keeps you fresh. Mm-hmm. So there's that. And
Daniel Jones, Rodgers, Russell Wilson.
And I'm going to have to say, what's my guy at New England?
Mac Jones? Mac and cheese?
Jones. I mean, this is last year. Come on, man. He ain't really like that. And they shouldn't have drafted such a undynamic quarterback. And that's another guy on the hot seat for me, Belichick.
Okay.
I mean, it might be his time to move past. And that's nothing against him. It's just like when it's time, it's time.
I mean, last year he had the Matt Patricia coaching offense, and he's a defensive coordinator.
I don't know what's going on in New England. They whiffed on getting D-Hop, so I don't expect shit from them, and I think it might be time to switch it up, get a new voice.
Hey, that linebackers coach they have, Gerard Mayo, I think that would be a good eye to keep an eye out on him being, the next head coach for them.
You can always get a talented black defensive coordinator.
Hey, there's a lot of them.
There's a lot, yeah. And they say that if you coach offense as a black coach, the chances of you getting promoted are slim. But defense, it's pretty high that they're doing pretty well on the defensive side. But I think there's some bias with that, no question.
Oh yeah,
and that's some shit we got to get fixed.
Yeah. Who's your number 5 though? Your last one remaining.
Man,
it's a lot of options for this one.
I want to say Dak, honestly.
Dakota.
It's clear that there's a ceiling with him, and he performed pretty shitty in certain situations last year, and they have just as much talent as any other team in the league. So there's no excuse for him. And I think a lot of pressure is gonna there's gonna be a lot of questions about what the year after next year looks like.
A lot of things could be changing with the Cowboys. I like that list. For mine though, top 5 quarterbacks for me: Aaron Rodgers, Russell Wilson. We have those two. Dak, Josh Allen. I think Josh Allen's under a lot of pressure.
That was one I thought of too. He's kind of like the Luka of football. You know what I'm saying? Like,
how many years are they going to give him?
Great, but
the production in the playoffs. Yeah. Besides that 1 year, he got cheated, or not really cheated. They just didn't stop Mahomes in the first drive in overtime. But just besides that, that was his best performance in the playoffs. I mean, we see a lot of guys get knocked for how they play in the playoffs. Every year, he comes up short. Last year, they got smoked by, Joe Burrow and them. So I'm excited to see what he does this year. And, come again, with the Chiefs in the playoffs. What happens with this? I think, a lot of conversations will start happening if he loses again in the playoffs, how he's been losing.
That's fair, but he already got his bag.
True. The last name I had, though, Deshaun Watson. Now, I'm big, rooting for him to have a good year this year, but I think he is under some kind of pressure. They paid him. They gave him. He's the only quarterback with a fully guaranteed contract. Saw how hard he tried to get that. He's the only quarterback in the league with the guaranteed contract. This Browns team, they have a good team. They got him for a reason because his defense is there, offensively there. They had Coach of the Year one season. They thought, Baker Mayfield can get us one playoff win. Maybe Deshaun. A guy like him will get the Super Bowl. So I think that, is a guy with some pressure. But, we both had similar guys on our list. Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson. Which one of those quarterbacks has the better season, you think?
I like Russell getting Sean Payton.
Okay.
I think 3 out of 5 of these players are going to perform well. I don't see Dak getting much better.
Yeah, me either.
And Daniel Jones. But I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a good season. Lamar is going to have a good season. And Russell Wilson is going to have a good season. I might be biased, but
okay.
Black, but
seems like the guys that aren't black are going to have a bad season. Vanilla Vic.
No, I think Aaron Rodgers is going to have a good season.
Oh yeah,
Daniel Jones,
mentioned him.
I don't see that.
Especially with Barkley out. Yeah, no. Without a run game. They just picked up James Robinson today, though, so maybe that's
a good pickup. And what's crazy is, Dalvin Cook is a top 10 running back, and he has nowhere to go. So
that's somebody I would, if I was the Giants, I'd be like, all right, if Saquon holds out, let me give you a call.
Right. See how
it's a dynamic run.
What he's looking for. money-wise, but I know Miami probably didn't give him a bag because he would have signed with them, no question. So,
And they got a really good running back room too. Jeff Wilson, Raheem Mostert, and the running back they got from Texas A&M, I think he's solid too. So
for sure.
But I think Deshaun Watson will have the better season because of all the things I mentioned with the Browns team.
Cooper is
Amari Cooper,
receiver too. Don't sleep on him.
Elijah Moore, they brought him in. They got Peoples-Jones. M'Baku, yeah. They got him. And Nick Chubb running the ball, who's consistent as fuck. He's going to, be a hard runner, give you some of those good games. I always like picking him up in fantasy because I know what I'm getting with him. He never disappoints me. Some games he'll disappoint me.
He doesn't. Come on now.
Yeah, he's
one of my favorite running backs.
Yeah, I just love the way he runs it. He's tough. Ever since them Georgia days, he was one of my favorites.
Always been a fan.
So I think Deshaun Watson will have the better year, and that's one of my teams I've always mentioned. It's gonna make the playoffs, this year. I think they're gonna take a big step, and then watch out for them, especially in that AFC North division. It could get tricky. Those, the Titans, any other team in the AFC that has to make the playoffs, it's gonna have to have a better record than Cleveland. But
I think the Bengals won't have an issue with that.
Some of those AFC North games, they be really close. Who knows? Some of the Bengals usually have some problems with some of those teams, the Steelers or some of those AFC North teams. But we mentioned Aaron Rodgers also being under some pressure to succeed this year. If the Jets don't make the Super Bowl, is it a failed season? What is a successful season, you think, in your mind? What are your thoughts on that?
I think making the playoffs should be successful, but
it's hard. It's going to be hard to make the playoffs, bro.
Exactly. So that's
you see their schedule? You see what their schedule looks like?
They're going to be able to compete with anybody.
Let me see. Their first 6 games, bro. They start out against Buffalo.
Garrett Wilson's another guy to look out for a breakout season.
Okay. Yeah. They start out against Buffalo, Dallas, New England. I think that's a dub. But Kansas City, Denver, Philadelphia, those first 6 games. And then they got the bye.
If you go 500 with that, you good.
Yeah. I think at worst 2-5, you want to try to get 2-5 at least.
2-5.
And then, go to the bye, and then the schedule eases up, but
you gotta be 3-4.
But that's realistic because there's some good teams on there, that list.
And anybody is beatable in the NFL.
True. And with the defense
I'm saying
they have,
if the goal is to have a successful season, and I'm a Jets fan, I would be happy with us making the playoffs for once. But I don't see them being better than Mahomes, or the Bengals at all.
Okay. I don't either. But let's go over to, we mentioned it a little, breakout players. Let me get your 2 breakout players, offensive side of the ball, and 2 breakout players on the defensive side of the ball in the league.
I'm going to do it 2 for $1. Justin Fields for sure.
Okay. Okay.
We revamped the entire offense. I could see us having 3 or 4 guys go to the Pro Bowl offensively.
Okay. I like that.
So with him having an MVP caliber season. So we'll go there first. I think Drake London too
Okay. Him with Ritter,
6'4",
obviously,
214.
Big body.
He's productive for his first year.
Yeah.
I think he has a breakout season as well. So those are
That's
my 2.
That's a good one. Defensively though, let me get your picks.
I think Greg Newsome out of
solid corner
out of Cleveland, and he's gonna have to compete with the Bengals receiving core. So
yeah, he was good in his first year.
Put yourself in an opportunity to have some big moments in big games, shoot, sky's the limit. And then Brian Burns too, a
Ooh,
guy
yeah.
who's, you know what I'm saying. I
Double
think
digit sacks this year.
right. So I think those two are mine personally.
Okay, I like
What are
those
your
picks.
thoughts were?
For offensive players in the league, I think I had Deshaun Watson. You know, it's obviously this episode. You know, Deshaun Watson. You know, we're not glazing over here. We're just, you know, you never heard that? That when people be like dick riding too much, they call it glazing and stuff. Because I mentioned it a couple of times, but
Spicy man.
Deshaun Watson, shout out him. I think he's gonna have a good year this year. My other one is Kyle Pitts, another Atlanta Falcon. I think this year Marcus Mariota wasn't really looking his way too much, him and Drake London. But when Desmond Ridder stepped in, and obviously Kyle Pitts getting healthier this year, he looked good in the training video I seen recently. So I think this is going to be a guy that's going to get back to that top 5 tight end form and, you know, be up there because he had a good rookie year. Last year was a little bit of disappointment, but he gets back up there. So those are my two. Defensively, some interesting ones. I think, defensively, Bradley Chubb with the Miami Dolphins. Vic Fangio being their defensive coordinator now. I think we're going to see him get to that, you know, all-pro pass rusher level. We've seen him show some, you know, flashes. He has struggled being healthy, but this year I think he puts it all together with Vic Fangio, defensive coordinator, like I mentioned. And then the other choice, Philadelphia Eagles linebacker, Nakobe Dean. Now, they had a lot of starters leave from the Eagles, and I think he steps in very well. We've seen the leader he was at Georgia. I think he steps into that role with the Eagles as, you know, a young vocal leader and step into that mic position. The times we've seen him on the field a little with the Eagles showed some flashes too. I think he has a big year this year. Some underrated choices.
Yeah, I like that. You did your due diligence.
Yes, sir. But let's go for one all Chicago Bears now. You know, this is our favorite team. Let's do the same thing, but for Chicago Bears. You know, you already mentioned Justin Fields. So give me two other offensive choices.
Oh, I think Cole Kmet for sure.
Okay.
We talked about it earlier. Breakout year. Already had some great plays that he made last year that got him some ESPN time. You fired me, but I like him. And then DJ Moore. I think this is gonna be his first year ever with a good quarterback. So that tandem is going to be what takes us to a whole different level, and we should be one of the highest scoring offenses in the league.
I'm surprised we didn't have the same choices, though. We didn't have the same choices this one, but bold statement. But I agree with you. I love it. You know, I'm here for all the positive, you know, talk for the Bears this season. Defensively,
You're
though,
here for it.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I love it. Defensively, let me get your thoughts, your picks.
Let me see what's two. I think our linebacker core is going to be crazy. So TJ Edwards and Tremont Edmonds. Okay. We got 2 for $1. I get rid of Roquan. See ya.
See ya. Beat it,
and
Buster.
Now I think they're going to have, we're going to have the best linebacker core outside of maybe San Fran.
The 49ers, yeah.
In the league. So I think we up there with everybody else.
Okay, I like that.
At that position, and we're going to need to be – somebody going to need to blitz if we don't get no pass rusher.
Yeah, if we don't get a pass rusher, Chase Young or Ngakoue. I like those choices. Now, defensively for me and offensively, let me start with offensively. Tevin Jenkins. Now, last year when he was healthy, this man was mauling shit, putting people on their ass, putting dicks in not dicks and butts. But putting dicks on that, no, putting people on their dicks, right? One of my coaches used to say that shit. But I think him, if he's healthy, that's a good choice. I think he'll be solid. I think he'll be able to, step in and be a first-time Pro Bowler this year. Braxton Jones too, another guy I was thinking about. But my other offensive choice, I think Khalil Herbert. I think him running the ball, this
Led
is
the league in yards per carry.
Yes, it's going to be a competition. I think he wins this competition with this running back corp right now. And I think he, builds off that season he had last year. If he didn't get hurt, I think he would have been a 1,000-yard rusher. So, him and Fields will be dynamic again this year with that run game and all the other running backs we have. Defensively, DeMarcus Walker, the guy we got from the Titans, I'm expecting big things out of him and double-digit sacks, I think. And I think he has a good year this year. And then Jalen Johnson at corner. Now, he hasn't been healthy for the whole season, a lot of his first couple seasons. And he doesn't really get too many interceptions. This is the year I think he steps up and proves, he's one of the best corners in the league. Okay. We've seen the flashes. We see the potential is there. We've seen him lock up, have those battles with Justin Jefferson, like some of the best receivers in the league, and him lock them up. But I think this year he proves it, and he gets that extension he deserves. Those are my choices. Me too. That's the guy I'm rooting for.
So basically, you got the whole damn team. Just named like 35 people. We're going to the Super Bowl, goddamn.
Hey, we are. Speaking into existence. But Justin Fields said some interesting things this past weekend or this last week or earlier in the week. He said he put himself on already top 5 running quarterbacks ever. What do you think about that? I think I agree with him. I think he's up there.
I agree with him too. He's gonna be up there. Another guy who will probably be up there is that Colts rookie.
Oh yeah, Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, he's
freak.
Gonna be crazy. He's gonna be crazy.
I think so too. Him and Jonathan Taylor.
Throw Justin on there. You might as well throw Dude on there because he's a fucking freak.
But some of the names I was thinking about with this, best running quarterbacks of all time: Mike Vick, Lamar, Cam Newton. I liked
his list.
Randall Cunningham was another name I was thinking about. That was a guy who put up some good numbers. Tim Tebow? Oh, hell no. Hell, maybe at Florida if we're doing college running quarterbacks. Jalen Hurts was on his list, I think. Steve Young, that's a guy. Russell Wilson, you've seen some of his numbers running the ball. He was effective in Seattle for a little bit. Got a little thicker though. But this year he looks good, looks solid, ready to do some damage. But
he ain't gonna run the ball though.
No, that offensive line is a lot better too. So, but one question I have for you, Jalen Hurts, do you think he can potentially overthrow Joe Burrow as the second best quarterback in the NFL with another good year? You don't think so? If he gets a Super Bowl, even?
No. Super Bowl.
Because he almost won MVP last year. Had he not got hurt.
Super Bowl, I think, sure.
But it's going to take him winning that Super Bowl.
But, yeah. Anything less, Joe Burrow's still by far a better quarterback.
Really? I think he's getting there, though. He's creeping up there.
What Joe Burrow does, he could do for like 15 years, so.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts, you've seen, got the shoulder injury last year. The chances of him getting hurt is more likely.
Mm-hmm. He got a lot of strength in his cheeks though, so I think he'll be all right. He got a good squat.
That's true.
He's got a lot of leg power. Just doing the flexibility, exercises and that stuff. But Jalen Hurts though, after what I saw in the Super Bowl, what I saw last year out of him, there's a lot of promise. I think he's definitely above Josh Allen though, and maybe I'm just a Josh Allen hater. Yeah. Tell me, I got him third right now.
No,
if he has one more good season.
Yeah, he could easily. Josh Allen's a different argument, for sure.
Really? Yeah.
I think he could easily eclipse him if one regresses, the other does better.
I think so too. So there's a lot to be excited for with Jalen Hurts. They didn't really change much with this Eagles team. Running back the running back room is a lot better. Swift, Penny. So, Gainwell and Boston Scott are still there. They kept the same receivers. The quarterback's coach, they promoted to offensive coordinator. So I think he'll still be successful and we'll still see some great things from this offense.
For sure.
But you talked a little about CJ Stroud. we talked a little about CJ Stroud. You talked about Anthony Richardson being a freak. Needed to pause for that, but but him being good, all the the rookie quarterbacks, the chances for their potential is there. We've seen it. Which of these 3 rookie quarterbacks do you think will have the best year coming out the gate? And this is personal year, like them statistics, not them winning the most games or whatever. But Bryce Young, Stroud, and Anthony Richardson.
Will Levis looking at us.
He puts mayonnaise in his coffee. Come on.
Man, I gotta see who's the best, but I don't expect much from none of their ass. So keep it a Beansky.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Bryce will be
CJ
good.
Stroud, I maybe, but if his O line is boo boo, it's not gonna be good. Bryce Young too late in the ass. I think Anthony Richardson, he's not NFL ready. I think he'll need a year or so to get. He'll have his legs at his disposal, and I think he'll have success, but I don't think he'll do anything fantastic. I can't see the Colts making the playoffs or making a run for the playoffs personally. So I think all of those teams, I don't expect nothing from those 3.
Right. I think out of the 3, Bryce Young will have the best year. I think he's got the most around him. He's got the best coach too. The coach that will help him, Frank Reich. And he's got, Sanders, DJ Chark, Adam Thielen. He's got some good vets around him too. And I think they had a pretty solid draft. Defensively, they're good too. So he won't be in situations where he shouldn't be, you know what I mean? They're not going to get blown out, you know what I mean? So I think he'll be in the best place to succeed. But, you said, all of them are going to be weak, essentially. So
I'm just saying, it's hard for a rookie quarterback, bro.
It's not easy.
Situation's kind of ass. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, but let's just stick with Bryce Young doing the best out of the 3. But that's all we got for the show. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tapping in with the content. Like I mentioned, if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Check out our podcast. What we have, the content we have is stuff that is great. We're continuing to get better too. Some possibly good interviews coming up soon too. Football season is almost about to be here. And trust me, we're going to be giving content out daily. So stay updated and, make sure to like and subscribe. Make sure to follow the podcast on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, 6-Man Blitz, all that. But like I mentioned, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And as always, peace. Here we got great content, great talks, NBA, NFL, all seasons for both, big news for both. We're going to discuss. But one thing, I saw today on Twitter, Charlemagne the God, he said Cardi B has had the same effect on rap as Jay-Z and Drake.